I was pretty sure that receiving this Competent Communicator Award would involve some perfunctory or half-hearted acceptance on my part. But as soon as Adrian handed me this pen, I couldn't help but grin. I sat in a chair for 4 months, as quiet as a mouse. For 4 months, I was frozen in my comfort zone, unable to say a word. And then I remember Frank Wang saying that at the bare minimum, he would try to do at least one table topic every meeting. And I thought to myself, I could at least do that. And with that, I finally stepped outside of my comfort zone. I've never shied away from an intellectual pursuit or an intellectual challenge. That I can do. But a social challenge, one where I actually have to do something, that's a whole different story. It was hard. I mean, it was nerve-wracking. It's still nerve-wracking. But I'm so glad and I'm so grateful and thankful that I have a supportive community here to help inspire me along the way. I remember when Howard Gordon finally hit his stride, he became a juggernaut. You couldn't stop him. And it was amazing to watch it unfold. Or Kristen Crandall, who just jumped right in, feet forward, and was a Toastmaster right off the bat. Of course, we have a master of vocal variety, Sarah Gow. This is a woman who takes the manuals very seriously and steps up to the challenge of each manual and provides a constant source of inspiration for me. So I'm grateful to all of these noontimers, and to all of you really, as you have all helped to nudge my story along and influence me in one way or another. Of course, I'm also grateful to none of this would be possible without Toastmasters International. The way that I came to the organization was my father-in-law suggested that, he had done it when he was younger, he suggested I should be a public speaker. Now, I don't know if any of you have ever had a coincidence that was so timely and so uncanny that it felt like a message from beyond. But if you had been with me on that day in Dallas, at that mall, what transpired honestly would have shaken you to the core, or given you serious pause. Right after the same day that my father-in-law told me that I should be a public speaker, I was approached by this strange elderly man. He was probably about 85 years old and 6 foot tall, but just tall for an elderly guy. But he was dressed in all yellow. He had this yellow sweatsuit on, and he had this yellow bandana tied around his bald head. It kind of looked like an old white Tupac Shakur, but dressed in yellow. And as Tupac the Elder approached me, he put one hand on my shoulder and another hand on my chest, and he said, "Young man, I have a beautiful speaking voice. You should be a public speaker. You'll do fine." And my first thought was, wow, that's pretty creepy. It was also creepy because he had his hands all over me. But my second thought was, maybe I should be a public speaker. Why not? And when I got back from Dallas, I joined Toastmasters. I thought that this would be a place where I could come and practice my public speaking skills, hone them. And it is. You can do that. I mean, some people come to improve their leadership abilities, and you can do that too. But what I've slowly begun to realize is that the Toastmasters experience, I think, is greater than the sum of its parts. Toastmasters provides a platform where people get to tell their stories. I'm so analytical that I miss the power of stories. I don't even read fiction, honestly. But I watched Vic McCune get up here and tell the story of his daughter's birth. And Amelia Maya, who talked about her grandmother's journey into the city. And with each story, I moved. And I said to myself, wow, now I get it. I'm a lecturer. I can lecture at you all day. Maybe you'll agree, maybe you'll disagree, maybe you'll get a Kindle, I don't know. But now I finally got it. If you can connect, your personal story, if you can share a piece of yourself, a piece of your story, then you can connect with people at this basic and most fundamental human level. And I don't think that I would have learned that any other way. And so I'm grateful to Toastmasters International and to Bell Noontime. I'm also glad to be standing up here as a competent communicator with this pen. You know, writing the speeches is hard, and practicing is hard. But meeting the challenges of the manual, for me, that's the hardest. I mean, I know I could have just breezed through the manual and done 10 speeches, but actually varying your voice for the vocal variety, moving your body for your body speaks, that's what makes you stretch, and that's what really makes you grow the most. And I've grown so much over the last 2 years that I know that I'll never be the same. And so I'm glad to be here as a competent communicator. And I'm grateful for this. So thank you.
Congratulations again on the communicator. And also it really looks like you really mean to being a good public speaker. And our second speaker is Andrew Fisher, and his title is My Love-Hate Relationship with